Hello, everybody. It is Captain Marty, and I am here on Thursday, October the 3rd. Really glad that you're tuned in and have found your way to me. I'm happy to tell you that fishing is good, but also we didn't get any fleet out because of the weather. A lot of sea on the bar, swell, things like that. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment, so stay right where you're at.
Real. That's the first word that comes to mind when I think about Outland Seafood in Mans Harbor. Yeah, they're the first and last place you see coming to and leaving the Outer Banks on Highway 64 in Dare County, but they're also real when it comes to fresh local seafood. Troy Outland, real. Curtis and Josh, real. The indoor crab shedders, real. Stop by and see for yourself right next to White Shopping Center and check them out on social media. Outland Seafood in Mans Harbor, real.
Come and experience fishing for the whole family aboard the Crystal Dawn at Pirates Cove Marina in Manio. The Crystal Dawn is a roomy 65-foot headboat, fully equipped with the latest gear to give you the best fishing experience. Worried about getting seasick? Fear not. The Crystal Dawn stays in safer and shallower waters to lessen the likelihood of that happening. Half-day and private fishing trips are available. To find out more, go online to crystaldawnheadboat.com. The Crystal Dawn Headboat out of Pirates Cove. Fishing that is fun for all ages.
So as I mentioned, the offshore fleet stayed to the dock today. Hatteras, Oregon Inlet, Ocracoke. That happens when you get into October. I was just telling a friend a little while ago that if you go to book a boat this time of year, you really need to have an alternative day. So if you book your boat on a Tuesday, you need to have Wednesday or Thursday as a backup day. And some people have a house for a week and they can work within the whole week. Others drive down from Ohio or Pennsylvania. They were going to fish on Tuesday, travel home on Wednesday. But you can always make your travel day, your travel home day, your backup day. It might mean that you'll have to drive home at night or stay an extra evening on the Outer Banks, but it would be better than getting blown out and losing your trip altogether. So October, November bookings, especially for the yellowfin tuna, you really want to make an effort to have an alternative day. And again, you might not get on the same boat you originally booked, but your original captain will go out of his way to see to it that you get on a good boat. Why? Because he wants you to come back. He wants you to feel like he did well by you to make sure you get your trip. It's a normal part of the business. He'll help somebody that wasn't booked get a charter, and somewhere down the road, the shoe will be on the other foot, and that's just the way these guys work together. So that's something to think about. Inshore fishing, let me just say, we've been having down in Hatteras good wahoo and dolphin fishing in very general terms, and up at Oregon Inlet, good dolphin or mahi and white marlin fishing. That's where most of that has gone. Our inshore fleets have been catching king mackerel, and they have been catching Spanish mackerel, some bluefish around, a little bit of bottom fishing going on for beeliner snappers and triggerfish. And there are some big schools of drum that are in the ocean. And there's still been a cobia or two caught almost every day. These are cobia that went by us in the early summer and went up into the Chesapeake Bay. And now on their way back down, they're making a pass by us, and we just there's not a lot of fishing pressure out there right now. So that's what's going on there. Our pier and surf fishing remains the same, although when you get a big swell, it's a little bit hard to hold bottom from the beach. But you get out on the end of the pier, it's a little bit easier. However, this time of year, if you get out on the end of the pier, any pier, you're going to find out that there are usually drum fishermen out there, especially if it's late in the day and into the dusk. And what they're doing is they're fishing for the big red drum, and they've been plentiful, a lot of them. I've been seeing a lot of the 41 to 44 inch drum. That's all catch and release fishing. That's the North Carolina state fish, but it's also protected by law. They have to be much smaller and in what they call a slot size to be able to keep one per person. So big drum bite has been good, and then the smaller drum bite, the slot size drum and some of the smaller black drum, that fishing has been pretty good as well. That's the big fish story. Now, what we have had is a nice summer mix. I call it summer mix because that's what it is, but it's going over into fall now of the bottom feeders. Spot, sea mullet, croakers, pompano still, and there are a few pompanos still around, all of that going on. So we, this is a great time of year. If you can find a place, now the swell will ruin you for that kind of fishing because you're using lightweight double hook bottom rigs. And there again, it might be that you have to get out on a pier. You don't go out to the end of the pier, but you get in the midsections of the pier and you can deal with current and swell a lot better that way. So keep it in mind. And another thing, if you're just starting from scratch, anytime you go on a pier or a charter boat of any kind, you're covered with their blanket license, fishing license. So you don't have to go through buying a fishing license to fish on a pier, a head boat, charter boat, anything like that. But there is some good opportunity. Fall is one of the best surf and pier fishing times of the year, no question about it. So we'll take a little break right here and I'll come back and tell you about what's happening in the backcountry.
The desire for being on the water is what draws people to the Outer Banks. OBX Boat Company in Kill Devil Hills shares that desire with you. The only full-service, Yamaha authorized dealer on the beach, OBX Boat Company is committed to providing you the best possible boat ownership experience. Their carefully selected brands of center consoles and family-friendly pontoon boats are all powered by ultra-reliable Yamaha motors. They offer excellent financing options as well. To learn more and see their inventory, visit obxboatco.com.
So in the backcountry, there has been a good drum bite. There's been a really good speckled trout bite. And there has also been some other things. So this has been a good summer for bluefishing back in the Sound. The guys down in Hatteras, my friends down there that are backcountry guides, they have all summer long caught bluefish, a lot of them in those 3 to 8 pound size ranges. So that's good. The speckled trout bite we talk about every day, that continues. And the drum bite from yearling drum, I see a lot of yearlings. That's a little bit smaller than most of the ones I'm seeing on the pier, but there also are some of the big sows, the 41 inchers, 44 inchers, and that's all a boat fishery, and there are charters available to do that if you want to have that, to do that professionally, where you can learn the ropes, see how it's done. It's a great investment and will shorten the learning curve for you a lot. There's also a nice fall bite going on our head boats right now. They're catching sea mullet out in the Sound. That's what they love to do that. They can keep them. They're good to eat. They're easy to hook. The kids can handle it. It's really a great way, a half-a-day trip on one of our inshore head boats that primarily fish inside the inlets and out in the Sound are doing really well on the bottom fish right now. A lot of variety in the catches too, croakers and spots, flounders, which you still have to throw back right now, but there's some good activity. They also have been catching some ribbon fish and some bluefish too, so keep it all in mind. I guess you can tell that there's a lot of variety in the catches right now, and I would still advise you, if you're going to do the pier or surf thing, to fish early and fish late. Early in the morning, late in the day, that's when these fish feed along the shoreline, so that's something that's really, really important. And finally, one little piece of breaking news, Justin Bateman, my old friend at One Boat Inc. that helps me with all this podcast stuff, he and I did our first, and it was a dry run, but it came out really well. We are trying to get back to a Saturday morning podcast. For 25 years, I did that every morning. It started as an afterthought when I was in the radio business, and it went on to be my most popular segment. And a lot of you have said, well, we sure missed that Saturday morning show. So we are putting the pieces of the puzzle in place, including a phone line. And we did that, and we did a trial run yesterday. We had Captain Ed Ashby on the Seabreeze as a guest. We had Jesse Anderson on the Carolina Girl down out of Hatteras as a guest, and it went really well. It's being cleaned up a little bit, and that first one would not be live, of course, but there's a lot of good information, some funny stories in it, and we hope you'll keep your eyes peeled. You'll be able to find it right here when we do start doing it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I want you all to be some of the first to know what we're up to. Well, that's my fishing report for today. Beautiful day on the Outer Banks. Very mindful of the needs of all the people inland. We've been there. We know what that feels like. I don't know that, well, we've had some major destruction before, especially down on Ocracoke and Hatteras. But from my friends in the Gulf Coast of Florida and the Big Bend to my friends in the mountains of North Carolina, it's just unspeakable what's going on. So I encourage y'all to keep them in your thoughts and prayers, help out wherever you can, and we will be thankful that we're going to get to go fishing as we approach the weekend, and keep in mind those that are struggling right now. So thank you for tuning in, and have a blessed day.